Hey guys, it's Wazo. How you doing? I feel like I haven't filmed in a really long time, even though it was like, I don't know, a month ago? I don't know. It feels like it's been a really long time. I feel like I need to reintroduce myself to you. Hello, my name is Wazo, except it's not. It's actually Lucy, but you can call me Swazo. Today I thought I would hop on this trend that I've seen a couple of people do. Today we're taking a look back 10 years. I think it's about 10 years. Pictures that I have, it might be 9, but I mean, how old was I 10 years ago? 12, 13. Between the ages of 12 to 13 to now at 23 years old. You're never too old to be a scene kid, okay? I wonder how long this phase will last. So yeah, I went through and I found a bunch of pictures, like quite a lot of pictures. I don't think I'll show all of them to you because there's a lot. Let me just finish drinking my coffee before we do this because, oh boy. I just realised it almost matches my hair. It's nice. Happy coincidences. Let's start with this picture. This was, I think, in 2009. This is me eating, I think, Tesco value chocolate. I used to really like Tesco value chocolate specifically. Not really sure why. So I would have been around 12 years old, I think. This was before I started like getting into my emo phase, which you'll see very soon. Which leads us on to the next picture. Here is me with a horse. I remember this day pretty well. This was a day where me and my nan went to a place where there were lots of horses, and there was this horse that came up to us. This horse clearly liked me, or just liked my Batman hoodie, which I used to wear all the time. This was when I started getting into my emo phase, so of course I'm wearing all black and my beloved Batman hoodie. And you can't really see it all that well, but this was when I started to try to do the swoopy bangs, like side fringe sort of thing, but I hadn't cut my hair yet or anything. I just kind of moved the parting over and just kind of tried to swoop the hair over. Didn't really look that great, but this is actually what my natural hair colour used to be. As I've got older, my hair has gotten darker for some reason. I'm not really sure why. Now this next picture is when I had fully started to really get into the emo phase, which you will see. This definitely would have been in 2010. That was definitely my year of becoming the emo. And this was when my mum finally let me dye my hair black because I wanted black hair so badly. So this is when I finally got to dye my hair black, and I wanted to do the swoopy fringe thing. This looks kind of not great. And this is also when I started to do the black pencil eyeliner all the way around the eyes, just thick black, you know, the classic panda eyes emo makeup. And I had a thing for superhero hoodies. In this picture I am wearing my Superman hoodie, which again I really loved. Not quite as much as the Batman one, because the Batman one was black and it's Batman, and Batman is the best. Leave a comment down below if you're team Batman or team Superman. Also, if you look at the bottom of this picture you can see a very old phone. I don't even know what phone that is, but that was my old phone many years before I ever got an iPhone. So at some point in 2010 I decided to be brave and just cut my hair. What I was trying to do was when you have your hair kind of swoopy and it's like cut short here and then it gets longer, so it's kind of like the swoopy. I put pictures of what I was trying to do just so you know, because I can't really explain it that well, but I just really wanted like the perfect emo hair. I got some scissors and I tried. What I ended up getting was a kind of full fringe, like sort of straight across bangs, but kind of also a bit too long and like a tiny bit pushed to the side, but not quite. You can see in this picture, which is probably my most emo picture, it was just strangely cut and it just didn't really work. And I cut some really short layers and like loads of them, so the ends were just really thin and it just looked not great. I think I was kind of happy with it at the time, although I can't really say that I was happy with much at the time. I actually like this picture though, of course with my My Chemical Romance hoodie, because My Chemical Romance were my life and are still my life, and they meant absolutely everything to me. I would spend all day, every day, pretty much all day, every day with some sort of MCR related thing going on, whether I was like listening to their music all day very loudly through my headphones or on YouTube watching MCR compilations and things like that. This was the time of my life where I was quite literally obsessed. I think I would have been the very definition of obsessed. But I do actually like this picture. I don't know why. I just I don't know, I like it. Okay, you can see the fringe a bit better here. So like it's sort of a full fringe, but it's also, I tried to make it go sideways. I was also very into the trend of drawing a cat face on your face. I feel like I need to put a Dan and Phil reference in right here. So in this next picture, a lot of these pictures are kind of in the same era, like kind of period of time, but I did feel the need to put this one in here because it's just really funny to me. Okay, so first of all, I got a new phone in this picture. I loved this phone so much, like it was my best friend basically. This is a representation of what happens when my hair gets wet and dries naturally, or at least that's what it used to look like. Now it just turns into a big curly mess. Not that this wasn't, it's just this, it's just my hair is naturally very wavy. I always wanted my hair to be completely straight because that was like the emo thing. But on this day I was caught out in the rain. My hair got soaked and then it dried like this while I was at a friend's house, and I just kind of had to deal with it. Also, those nails are beautiful. Here's another one of my most emo pictures ever taken. Here are various pictures of me biting objects. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, I think I'm around 14 here. 14-year-old girl bites things. Cool. Also, I think this very well taken picture of me holding a Monster can sums up my aesthetic around this time pretty well. I still have this t-shirt, by the way. It's a bit faded, but I still have it. I never really grew from the time I was 14 up until now. Okay, so this is a picture of me holding a drawing I did of Kat Von D. So here's me hugging a tree. I always liked trees. I like nature, I like trees, so I thought I'd hug the tree. You can also see my roots coming through in this picture. Obviously I used to dye my hair black. My natural hair back then was a fairly light blonde, so when my roots would go through it used to look like I had bald patches, and people used to like making fun of me for that. Really appreciate it. That hoodie, by the way, was my favourite hoodie ever. This one was just my hoodie that I wore pretty much every single day, and I used to also wear this Yumi at 6 top quite a lot as well. So this was around the time when I learned that I really liked taking pictures of myself. I know that probably sounds very self-absorbed and vain, but I just used to always really like, and still like, doing makeup and, you know, making myself look nice, I guess, and taking pictures. I just always found that really fun, and I found that it really actually boosted my confidence in how I looked and stuff, because I've always been quite insecure, and I used to really confuse myself actually, because I used to be very insecure with how I looked. I really didn't like how I looked at all. I used to compare myself to other people all the time, and I used to confuse myself because at the same time I liked taking pictures of myself and I liked having pictures of myself that I liked, and in my head I thought that was kind of contradictory, because if I didn't like how I looked, why was I taking so many pictures of myself? But in a way I think it was because I didn't really like how I looked that I wanted to like do my makeup and hair and stuff, and I used to take loads and loads of pictures and just find a couple that I thought looked nice. I don't know, it's really hard to explain it, but it was just something about that and finding pictures that I liked of myself that really helped me to like how I look. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But yeah, this was around when I was still 14 and I started to find a love for taking pictures of myself, which clearly I still like to do because I upload on Instagram all the time, which, by the way, my Instagram is SozoChan if you're interested. If not, that's okay. So after a while I started to get bored of having black hair. I wanted to have bright coloured hair. So this is when I discovered bleach. Spoiler alert for a bit further down the line. I didn't know back then how to look after my hair. I thought it would be okay to put 40 volume bleach on my box dyed black hair and to just keep doing that like every couple days maybe, and just bleaching it over and over again until it was a light blonde. I didn't know what tone was back then either, so here's a quick little series of photos showing my process from box dyed black hair to yellowy blonde hair. Surprisingly my hair wasn't falling out at this point. That happened a bit later. We'll get to that. So this was after the first time I bleached it. It obviously came out very orange, which I did kind of like for a while. I did want it to be lighter obviously because I wanted to dye my hair blue, which is quite funny because I'm now wearing a blue wig. Some things never change. This is a picture of after I bleached it again, so it's a little bit lighter. My roots turned white. I had no idea why this was happening. I did not understand why I had orange hair with white roots. I now realise I just didn't know what I was doing. This was also a pretty rough part of my life. I'm not going to get into too much detail, but I would assume that I was at least tipsy in this picture. I mean, I have a can of cider next to me. There have been a couple times in my life where I've pretty heavily depended on alcohol. It was just a rough time. But anyway, I don't want to dwell too much on that because it's kind of depressing. Bleached my hair again, got a little bit lighter. I still have this MCR top. I think I bleached my hair again and it got to this nice yellow colour. In this picture you can really see a lot of my freckles. I don't have as many freckles as this anymore. They do tend to come out more in the summertime. So this I think was nearing the end of 2011. This was at a time when I was using Tumblr a lot and I wanted to be a Tumblr girl basically. And at this time side cuts were a really big thing. So many people were shaving the sides of their head and I thought it looked super cool and I wanted it too. I shaved the side of my head because I wanted to also have the cool side shave, which to be honest I still think looks really cool. I say I shaved the side of my head, but realistically what I did was I just used scissors and just cut it really short to try and get it to look as even as possible. So here's a fun fact of when I shaved the side of my head. I didn't like that my hair was naturally light at this point, but I also thought it would be kind of a waste of hair dye and a lot of upkeep to dye this tiny patch a dark colour. So what I used to do in the time that I had a side shave was I used to use either a dark brown eyebrow pencil or a dark brown mascara, and I would basically just fill that patch in because the look that I wanted was I wanted light blonde hair or some other bright colour with a side shave that was like a dark colour. So I wanted it to look like my roots were like dark brown. So you can see in this picture the side is dark. That's makeup. However, in this next picture I finally got to dye my hair blue, which I was so very excited about. Okay, so my camera died. I'm not 100% sure where we left off, but I'm going to try to continue from where we were. I'm going to take this as a lesson to speed things up a bit because otherwise we're going to be here for 2 hours. Okay, so this picture I finally got to dye my hair blue, and I also decided that I wanted to have a break from drawing in the side of my head. I actually went through with dyeing the shaved patch on the side of my head black. So the hair was actually black now. I did actually aim for it to be more turquoise, but when I first dyed it, it was like a dark blue. In these next pictures you can see it did start to fade to the turquoise that I wanted. I really like this colour. So then a while after enjoying my bright coloured hair, I had to go back to school. So I think this was the end of 2011 after a break that we had. In the UK, for the most part, we have to wear uniforms and we can't have bright coloured hair, as though having bright hair impacts your ability to function in school. In the UK, for the most part, that's a big no-no. So I had to dye it back to dark brown. I didn't want it to be black this time because I thought it was just a bit too dark. And I was starting to really enjoy doing makeup and eyeshadow and trying to experiment a little bit more. And sometimes, as shown in this picture, we had some interesting looks. I think interesting is the best way to describe this. After a while I then decided that I was bored of having hair that was brown. I wanted more colour. I wanted to have red hair, but I couldn't dye it bright red because that was a no-no. So I got this like red tinted hair dye, starting to get a little bit damaged beyond repair. Surprisingly not completely dead yet. You can see it quite clearly in this picture as well, which is again quite emo. But this is when my hair faded quite a lot. Here's me trying to pose in a way that makes me look like a Tumblr girl and trying to get all those reblogs. This was actually when I got my lip pierced. Again, you can see the damage in my hair. On top of all the dyeing that I did to my hair, I used to straighten it pretty much every day without using any heat protection. My poor hair. After having light brown for a while, I decided I wanted it to be black again, so I dyed it black. Still being very emo. So the story behind this haircut. I wasn't originally planning on cutting my hair really short because I had my side cut and it was starting to grow in a little bit. I wanted to do something like really cool and wacky with my hair. So I wanted to kind of have this side of my hair short and make it gradually get longer on this side, and I used to cut my hair very impulsively, so of course I tried to do what I had envisioned in my head and it didn't really work. But at that point I had already cut this side to be short and it just looked kind of strange. I ended up having to cut this side off completely and try to even it out and turn it into something that didn't look terrible. So yeah, I ended up cutting my hair really short into this cute little pixie cut. And this was also the time that I fully accepted that I was bi, in case you didn't know. I never really felt the need to come out on YouTube, but so I practically begged my mum to get me hair extensions, which she very kindly did buy me hair extensions. Thank you, mum. Here is a picture of me with said hair extensions and also a makeshift backdrop out of bed covers. This is I'm not really sure where to start with this one. Okay, I dyed my hair pink and I put my black hair extensions underneath and I thought it looked kind of cool, kind of like Scene Kid-esque. Did a little like rawr facial expression. Fun fact, if you can see, I have a little bit of writing on my arm that says milk. There was this group of scene kid and emo kids that used to hang around in town, just kind of be in a big group and loiter around the town. And I would also sometimes join the group because I had some friends in the group. I never really felt like I fit in properly in the group. But yeah, I was sitting in the group and there was this guy, I don't know who he was part of the group, and he just wrote milk on my arm in permanent marker and I was like, okay, great, I have milk on my arm. Not real milk, I mean written. Anyway, this was in 2012. I was 15 years old. You can clearly see the difference from my real hair to the extensions because the extensions were much healthier than my hair. And here's a flattering picture of me with a wax figure of Lady Gaga. I feel like going through all these pictures so far, we have been witnessing my hair decline in health. I wanted blonde hair again after my hair was pink and I bleached it until the pink was gone. I made some great decisions. This is a good picture. I do not miss gluing in my extensions and taking them out, but this is what my hair looked like when I took the extensions out. It was about this long and then I put the extensions in again. Please ignore the messy room behind me, by the way. Of course there's a Mountain Dew bottle up in the top left of this picture because I was a Mountain Dew addict. I think this was a time where I was actually pretty happy for a while. I had just gotten a new camera, which is the exact same camera that I still use to this day, but I do have a different lens on at the moment. There's also this one as well. It's quite seen. So then, yet again, I decided to dye my hair black very shortly after I decided that I wanted to bleach parts of it. Not the entire thing, just parts, and just kind of experimented. I did really like how it came out, actually. I still think it looks kind of cool. Like, honestly, it was kind of cool. However, my school did not think it was cool. When I went back into school with my new hair that I thought was really cool, really loved it, just as I was entering the school gates, I was stopped by one of the teachers and she was like, can't have that hair in here. Even though it wasn't really that extreme, I was put in isolation for the entire day. So they basically at the end of the day told me I had to change my hair before coming into school the next day, which I thought was stupid, and I still kind of think it's kind of stupid. It wasn't even that crazy, but I really didn't want to undo what I had done to my hair because I liked how it turned out. I put the black hair dye on my entire hair, but I didn't want to make my hair completely black all over. So I left the black hair dye on for like, I don't know, like 10 minutes. The goal was to just kind of tone it down a little bit, but not completely get rid of the bits that I highlighted, I guess. And the result was this, which I actually really ended up liking, and I was worried that the next day I'd go into school and they would be like, it's still not good enough, but luckily it was actually fine. They didn't say anything. Then after a while of having that hair, I did something stupid. I decided to cut my fringe into a kind of short fringe, and it just looked really messy and really choppy and awful, as you can see in this picture. I don't really know what I was trying to do. I like to try and forget that my hair looked like that because it was really bad. Oh, and then I bleached it again. This was on the day of my prom, which was underwhelming at best. 16 years old now. We are making progress. This was kind of cool. I mean, it looked kind of whack at the same time, but I always forget that I had this hair, but it was actually probably one of my favorites. I kind of want to do that to a wig now. Also wearing a Slipknot t-shirt that I still own. At this point my ears were stretched to 18mm and they're now at 10mm. I then bleached my hair again. Then I decided that I wanted my hair to be white, so I learnt about toner. So that's that's the story behind that. This was technically my first ever wig. I got this wig because I wanted to cosplay Yuno from Future Diary, my favourite anime for a really long time. This is when the weebness started. At this point I had no idea that I would one day become a wig addict. And then I dyed my hair dark brown again. I feel like this is just like a hair timeline video. I also got my Medusa pierced, or philtrum, whatever you want to call it, which was one of my favourite piercings actually. I don't really have much to say about this picture. I finally decided to cut a lot of my hair off because it was dead. I didn't cut it completely off though, because I didn't want to be without a fringe, because I was very, very insecure about my forehead showing. I have a pretty big forehead. At this point I kind of embrace it. It's like, I know I have a big forehead, can't really do anything about it. It doesn't really matter. And this was the point where I decided I wanted to actually get into wigs. This is also when the weeb was really coming out. I was watching a lot of anime and I wanted to be a cute anime girl. This was really my first wig that I bought that I wanted to wear, like, you know, as my hair. And here's a picture of me with my sister. Okay, so this was my second wig, and this is the wig that I wore every day for a really long time. And I also got the bottom of my lip pierced, so that was a cool little piercing goings on. Anyway, this was my third wig. That was a really nice wig. I don't know what this look was. Okay, so this would have been a while afterwards because my hair has grown quite a bit in this picture. I also bleached it again. This was a picture where I was really, really happy with my makeup. Looking back on it now, I'm kind of like, what were those brows? I don't really remember this portion of my life that well. Not really sure why, but this is kind of a period of my life that I don't have a lot of memory of, but I guess I cut a full fringe into my hair again. But this was a wig that I actually made myself. Well, I mean, I say made. Basically, I got a cheap white wig from eBay and I deconstructed it and used fabric dye, I think I used, to like dye certain wefts different colours. Then I put it back together by sewing it back together, and I was actually pretty proud of how it turned out. I thought it looked pretty cool. I don't know what happened to it though. Here's a nice picture of me looking happy, even though I also kind of look a little bit insane. There's just something about my eyes in this picture that kind of freaks me out a little bit. I don't know what I would call this look. I feel like I've always just been the type of person that likes to do all sorts of different looks. Like, I don't like to just look the same for a long time. I get bored of looking just one way all the time. I think it's okay to like all sorts of different styles. This was a very cheap wig from eBay. It was actually really not good quality. I look really strange in this picture, and for some reason I watermarked it as though people were gonna steal it. That brow was questionable. This was my first lace front from Wig is Fashion. This wig you may recognise the first video I did of doing a scene / emo makeup look. This is the same wig from that video, and I actually still have it, and it's still actually, it's not dead somehow. This pink wig has been a resilient wig. This was a wig that my boyfriend got me for Christmas. It's a discontinued wig from Lush Wigs. I have cut it a little bit, but I do still have it and I still love it. And this was the first one they ever reshared of me, and I remember just being like so happy, like so just really, really happy. And now 4 years later I model for them, which is really cool. I also got this wig that year as well from my boyfriend. This was the duckling wig. Okay, my camera died again, and so did my microphone, so I'm sorry if the sound is different. Back into it again. I think this is towards the end of 2017. I at some point had dyed my hair light brown to let it grow and literally not dye it. From this point up until now I have not dyed my hair once. These pictures I see as like the beginning of my Instagram journey. I had an Instagram for a while beforehand, but I wasn't really trying to grow it. But this was when I really started to experiment with makeup and looks and wigs and doing all sorts of different looks. I don't know, it's just the beginning of something that I would grow to really love and invest a lot of time and effort into. I also used to shave my eyebrows off back then. I think it was like last year I decided to start growing them back in. This is a nice picture of me and my best friend, Penguin. I know he's not a penguin, but his name is Penguin with an I, not an E, Penguin. My boyfriend got him for me. He means a lot to me, and he is sitting right there. And these are some more pictures where I was just really in an experimental phase with my makeup and I wanted to just be creative. Here is that pink wig. This is what I did to it for the scene video and also again for a different look. I really like this one. This is still one of my favourite looks. Aww. This is a picture of me and Hans. Hans the bear. He's a good boy. He's sitting next to my desk right now. Hans is a good boy. We've got some pictures from Valentine's Day makeup. This was one from summer last year. This is kind of a more natural me. And moving on to more recently. As you may or may not know, it is now the Rawring 20s. Raw XD. This is the year of relishing in being a scene kid again. I am committed. Very committed. It's gonna flash some images of recent scene looks from this month. Follow my Instagram for more, or don't if you don't want to, no pressure. And that leads us up to today. I don't know how long this scene phase is gonna last, but hey, I mean, I'm looking how I want to look and I'm enjoying doing so. And I think that is something that everyone should do. Be who you want to be, look how you want to look. It is really no one else's business. So yeah, I guess that is my style evolution. I kind of just ended up reverting back to my 15-year-old self. Hopefully I can condense this video down into something that's not too long. But if you have sat through this entire video, thank you for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. Happy belated New Year. I hope you have a good 2020. I hope you have a good decade. If you would like to follow me on my other social medias, my Instagram is soizochan and my Twitter is soizochan with an extra N at the end. Don't forget to leave a like and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I hope you have a wonderful day and I shall see you guys in the next video. Bye guys!